Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind. We've got some leftist narratives to dismantle on this one. They keep telling you, it never happened. It never has happened. It's so rare that it's basically not even a factor and we shouldn't even discuss it. Anybody who is discussing it is a MAGA cultist, a conspiracy theorist. Yet the reality seems quite different from the narrative that is being spun from these partisan hack leftoids. It never happens, they claim, yet it continues to happen. It's been happening for decades, and the craziest part of all, I know, a real shocker, it seems like in almost every single case, it is a case of Democrat corruption within the election system, especially when it comes to these mayoral races, these small-time races. Translation, or probably the clearest way that I could put it, Democrats keep cheating, and Democrats keep getting caught as they tell us and pretend that, oh, this never really happens. No, definitely never happens. It's never happened before. Don't look here, don't look there. You're a conspiracy theorist. Let's get into this. We got a shocking brand new story. Let's roll the tape. All right, friends, take a look at the headline. Court overturns Ganim win in Bridgeport primary, calling evidence of fraud, quote, shocking. A judge ruled on Wednesday to overturn the city's Democratic primary election, initially won by incumbent Mayor Joe Ganim, following claims of absentee ballot fraud by his opponent, John Gomez. After 2 weeks of evidentiary hearings for Gomez's absentee ballot fraud lawsuit, Judge William Clark ordered a new Democratic primary based on 180 pieces of evidence presented by Gomez's legal counsel. In the 37-page ruling, Clark said the video footage presented by Bill Bloss, Gomez's attorney, was particularly alarming. Mr. Ganim was also correct to be, quote, shocked at what he saw on the video clips and evidence that were shown to him while he was on the witness stand, Clark wrote. The videos are shocking to the court and should be shocking to all parties. Ganim was one of the many city officials called to the Fairfield Judicial District Superior Courthouse for questioning, along with Wanda Geter Pataki, vice chair of the Bridgeport Democratic Town Committee and operations specialist for the city, and Anita Martinez, a former city council member accused by Gomez of stuffing ballot drop boxes. At the witness stand, Ganim told the court he was shocked by an 18-minute video subpoenaed by Gomez from Bridgeport police that appeared to show 12 instances of Geter Pataki either depositing stacks of ballots herself or handing ballots to others from behind her reception desk, and 4 instances of Martinez dropping off ballots. Asked about the footage during the hearings, both Geter Pataki and Martinez asserted their Fifth Amendment rights against self-incrimination. Ganim, who appeared to win the primary by 250 votes after a count of absentee ballots, denied any involvement in the alleged fraud. Under state election law, absentee ballots may only be returned by the ballot applicant, a family member, a police officer, an election official, or a caretaker. Clark said the footage provides direct evidence that the state law was violated when unauthorized partisans handled and submitted ballots. And so, are we going to sit here acting stupid and pretend as if this is the first time we've ever seen this? Come on. There was a whole documentary with compelling video evidence on the exact same thing. You know, for years and years and years, Democrats warned against electric voting machines.
I continue to think that our voting machines are too vulnerable.
Even hackers with limited prior knowledge, tools, and
these voting machines can be hacked quite easily.
You could easily hack into them. It makes it seem like all these states are doing different things, but in fact 3 companies are controlling them.
There are a lot of states that are dealing with antiquated machines, right, which are vulnerable to being hacked.
Actually held a demonstration for my colleagues. Here we brought in folks who, before our eyes, hacked election machines.
Years and years, Democrats argued that you need paper ballots. But now, all of a sudden, the whole Democrat apparatus across the entire nation is hardcore, hardline focused, especially with the potential of Donald Trump winning, at pushing absentee mail-in ballots across the nation in every district in every state. No, nothing fishy, just your typical, Democrat flip-flop. Give me a frickin' break. I don't understand how it's a partisan issue. I don't understand how it's confusing to people. Even if these events were as rare as Democrats would claim they are, even if this stuff, hardly happened or never happened, why risk it? Like, why have a less secure, less trustworthy method of voting? What good does that do for democracy as a whole? Democrats constantly going on about, my democracy, as they do everything to further create this scenario where people are losing trust in the system. You know, obviously people don't trust this system. Obviously, people don't like it when they voted in an election on election day and then all of a sudden, as their favored candidate is winning, in the middle of the night, the results flip entirely as X amount of mail-in absentee ballots hit the stack and all of a sudden shift the results entirely. You know, even if there was no funny business and it was being done totally by the books, just that circumstance is enough to off-rail trust in democracy. I think that's pretty fair, unless there would be some sort of, you know, ballot watermarking and a legitimate, provable chain of custody for every single mail-in ballot. That mail-in ballot could then be connected to an actual authorized voter with legitimate proof and confirmation that that is the voter that dropped off that ballot. Unless there's a way to make the system pretty much foolproof, trustworthy, then obviously it's just a bad idea. You know, there's too many opportunities. There's too many opportunities for wrongdoing. It's a general circumstance that just has too many holes. It's a Swiss cheese system. I don't know about you guys, but I'd like a solid block of cheese election system. And that system isn't complicated. Paper ballots, watermarked, traceable, voter ID, you know, extremely basic stuff. You don't need fancy technology. You don't need a complex system. All you need is, hey, this is where you vote, show up to vote, show us your ID, collect your paper ballot, make your vote in private, put it in the box, go home. That's literally it. Nothing else. It's as simple as it gets, and that's literally what every Republican is fighting for. That is what people are advocating for. Yet Democrats are engaged in this gaslighting campaign as if, well, you're crazy for thinking something so basic and common sense. What could possibly lead you to have that opinion? Well, I don't know. Maybe the headline that I just covered? Court overturns Ganim win in Bridgeport primary, calling evidence of fraud shocking? Maybe this? Patterson City Council president and wife stole mail-in ballots to rig 2020 election. Muskegon fake voter applications probed in 2020 referred to FBI, Nessel says. Arizona woman admits guilt in ballot collection scheme. Former Philadelphia congressman pleads guilty to election fraud. The list goes on and on and on. And speaking of going on, actually in that whole Philadelphia scheme, that went on for years. Myers admitted to conspiring with election officials, particularly Philadelphia election ward leaders Dominic DeMuro and Mary Barron, to add votes to ballot boxes in support of specific Democratic candidates in Pennsylvania elections from 2014 to 2018. The charges were first announced in July of 2020 during a press release by U.S. Attorney William McSwain. Oh, so you mean to tell me it was happening in Philadelphia from 2014 to 2018? That's pretty close to 2020. And I don't know, Philadelphia happens to be a city in Pennsylvania, arguably one of the most important battleground states there is on the election map. No cause for concern here. I'm a crazy person for even questioning or thinking about election integrity, said the crazy person. I mean, come on. Certain things should be bipartisan, but obviously when winning's at stake, it never is, right? And so when one group is perceived as benefiting from a certain situation, I mean, obviously Democrats benefit from absentee ballots. It's no surprise to anyone. It kind of makes up for the lack of voter enthusiasm, especially in the age of Joe Biden. And so Democrats are taking the stance that they're taking now, and honestly, just the stance that they're taking, just the activism that they're doing, and most importantly, the lobbying and legislation that they're trying to pass on a state-by-state level tells you all that you need to know about where they stand on this issue. Now, does it? Obviously, they're not interested in common sense voter reforms. They're not interested in election integrity legislation. They would be if it was benefiting Donald Trump. Then, of course, you know, they'd be pointing the finger frickin' everywhere. But obviously, they're not interested as of right now. They'll be totally silent on the issue while going on and on about the integrity of our elections and democracy and how important democracy is and how it must be preserved and how Donald Trump is the enemy to democracy and all of his voters pushing for paper ballots, traceable ballots, you know, elections that can be properly audited. Again, another issue that should be totally bipartisan. But Democrats, what do they do in every instance, like we're seeing in Arizona with Katie Hobbs and Kari Lake? They get in the way of proper audits. They delete evidence. You know, ballots just disappear. They don't comply with subpoenas. They have no interest in actually getting to the bottom of it, getting to the truth. Because who knows? Maybe the truth is a whole lot scarier, a whole lot crazier than even you, your average skeptic, might perceive. I don't know, man. I'm developing trust issues in respect to American democracy. And obviously, I'm not the only one, and that can't possibly be a good thing for national unity and general trust in democracy. Another Democrat, emphasis on the word Democrat, election scheme exposed for the masses to see. But of course, nothing nothing to see here, folks, is probably going to be the media narrative. Just a one-off situation. Still extremely rare. Not as rare as they want you to believe. That's what I got for you guys on this one. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, friends, and I'll see you on the next one.